Namo Buddhaya, Sukhiyantu, Sawaka, Sawika. So it's been 2 weeks ago. It's already 2 weeks. Okay, and just as a quick review, that the Salla Sutta is found in the Sutta Nipata with other similar Parita Suttas like Metta Sutta, Mangala Sutta, Ratana Sutta, and so on. And the Buddha taught the Salla Sutta for the benefit of the householder. Okay, there's this householder whose son had died, and he was unable to abandon his grief, and the householder did not eat for 7 days. So if he carry on not eating, chances is he will starve himself to death out of grief. So the Buddha interfered and intervened, and the Buddha taught the Salla Sutta to this householder and taught him to see the truth with wisdom and to remove, how to remove. In seeing wisdom, will be able to remove these darts of grief. And we also understand that there is another sutta of the same name, similar name, called also Salla Sutta, but this is found in Samyutta Nikaya 36.6. Okay, this one is usually when we say that, when you are sick, you can be sick physically, but you must not be sick mentally. So this is where the sutta comes in. Name of the sutta sometimes is also called the Vedana Samyutta, where we say that when shot by the arrow of physical pain, an unwise person will make matter worse by piling mental anguish on top of it, as if he had been shot by 2 arrows. So a wise person or a wise Buddhist will only feel the sting of 1 arrow only. And also we understand that there are 20 verses in the Salla Sutta, and the Buddha encouraged us to contemplate on these 20 verses found in the Salla Sutta.
Ewa mahapato loko majuna cha jaraya cha tasmadira so chanti vede twa loka pariyayang.
Okay, so the verse here, Ewang, means thus. Ewang means sutang, thus have I heard. So thus in this way, even so, since Abhahato is a past participle of Abhanati, it means attack or assail, afflicted or overwhelmed. Loco means the world or population or beings. Machuna is death, Cha is end, Chara or Chara is old age or decay. So Ewang Abha Hato Loco Majuna Cha Jaraya Cha. It means since the world or beings is assailed. Okay, Abhato is assailed by death, Machuna, and old age. Yeah, since the world is assailed or overwhelmed by death and old age. Next, Tasma means from him. Dira means the wise ones. Na is not a negative. So Chanti means to grieve or to mourn. Vidita means known or found out. So vidita means having known or knowing. Pariyaya means the order or the cause or the nature. So when you join together, loka pariyaya means the cause of the world, the order of the world, or the nature of the world. So tasma dira na suchanti viditva loka pariyayang means knowing the nature of the world, the wise do not grieve. Next. So in verse 8, Ewang abhahato loko machuna cha charaya cha tasmadira na suchanti viditwa loka pariyayang. It means, since the world is assailed or overwhelmed by death and old age, knowing that this is the nature of the world, the wise do not grieve. Okay? Now, if we truly reflect well on anicca, or the transient nature of existence, we will not be surprised when death takes place. And we do not need to distress ourselves needlessly by wishing for what is impossible. Okay, it's impossible to live forever. Now, in the time of the Buddha, there is a stingy millionaire. And he was so stingy that he was reluctant to pay for doctors to treat his dying son. So he inquired everywhere, okay, about what kind of medicine can be used to treat his son. And he treated his son himself. And before long, due to not getting the proper treatment, his son died. While on his deathbed, the son saw the Buddha pass on his way for alms. And dying with thoughts of devotion for the Buddha, he was reborn in heaven. The distraught father went to the cemetery daily, weeping over the loss of his son. Then a deva appeared in the cemetery, taking on the appearance of the millionaire's son, and stood by a tree weeping. The millionaire, seeing the young man weeping, felt compassionate for him and asked why he was so sad. So the deity replied that he needed new wheels for his chariot, but could not get them. The millionaire told him not to weep and that he will buy him a new pair of chariot. The Deva said that he wanted the sun and the moon as wheels for his chariot. The millionaire then laughed at him, saying that it was impossible to get the sun and the moon. The deity then admonished his former father, asking who was more foolish, himself for weeping about something he could see, or the millionaire for weeping about something he could not see. The millionaire then realized his folly in weeping for the return of his son, who is now reborn as a Deva. This story is from the commentary to the second verse of the Dhammapada, which teaches the great benefits of wholesome thoughts. Mind is the forerunner, mind is chief, all things are mind-made. If one speaks or acts with a pure mind, happiness follows like one's own shadow. So you can see that the son on the dying bed, he saw the Buddha passing by outside the house. He was overwhelmed with devotion, and because of this, he was reborn in heaven. Okay, so the wise do not grieve. Okay, and we are also familiar with the Jataka stories of the Uraga Jataka, okay, where in the past life, the Bodhisattva son was bitten by snake, okay, and the family did not react at all, okay. Next.
Yasamagana janasi agata sagata sawa ubo ate asampasang nirantang paridewasi.
Okay, the word yasa means from whom or from which. Maga or magang, path, road, way, no, not negative. Janati means to know or to find out or to be aware. Agatasa come from where? Gatasa means go where. Va means all or either or. So yasa magang na janasi agatasa gatasa va. Since one cannot know one's path as to where he has come from or where he is going. Okay, so you don't know. Ube means both. Ante means and. Sampasati means to see or to consider. Asampasang means cannot see. Upe ante asampasang. One cannot see both ends. Both ends means over the date or when die. Here both ends means birth and death. Okay. At birth, you do not know where you come from. And at the dying bed, when you are dying, you do not know where you are going towards. Okay, that's the meaning. You cannot see both ends, birth and death. Niratang here means useless or in vain. Paridewasi is lamenting or wailing. Ube ante asampasang niratang paridewasi. It is useless, lamenting over the dead. Okay. Next. So yasa magang na janasi agatasa gatasa va ubo ante asampasang niratang paridewasi. It is useless, lamenting over the dead, since one do not know one's path as to where he has come from or where he is going to. The past and future lives are unknown. So since we do not know our destiny when we die, it makes no sense, since you don't know, and then we do not know the destiny of the dying person, the departed. So it makes no sense to grieve. If they were truly virtuous people who have been reborn in celestial realms, we should not be grieving for them. We should rejoice for them, since a life in heaven is better than a human existence. If they have been reborn in a realm of suffering as an animal, hungry ghost, or even in hell, one may well grieve and lament for them, but it will still be in vain, of no avail. Because if they are reborn in apaya as an animal, hungry ghost, or in hell, how much you grieve has no effect on them. Okay? And if they're born in a fortunate realm, then we should be rejoicing for them. So everyone must inherit the results of our karma that we have done, and no one can prevent karma from giving its due results. So the best that anyone can do for the departed one is to perform meritorious deeds in the name of the deceased and share the merits with them. Next.
Paridevaya manoja Kan datang ubadaye Sammolohin samatanang Kaira cetang vijakano.
Okay, verse 10. Parideva, as usual. Wailing, lamentation, mano is mind or oneself. It can also mean conceit or measure. Because Pali words sometimes they have what you call a few meanings. Che means if. Kinchi means whatever there is. Atta means welfare or benefit or gain or wealth. Udat bahe come from the word abahato, means to draw out or to remove or to tear out. Or here we can use the word to derive. So paridewa dewaya mano che kinchi datang udat bahe means if lamenting, one could derive some benefit. Next. Samuho means to be bewildered, to be infatuated, or sorrow. Hinsa means hurt or injury or harming. Okay, ahimsa means we non-harm, we do not harm animals, and okay, destroy. Atanang means the mourners or the selves. So alboha hisang atanang means if willing could heal the mourner's sorrow. Okay, so if we if we lament and we wail and cry, if we can heal our sorrow, that is the meaning. Vichakano means the wise. Okay, kaire come from the word karoti, having done. Enang means him or this one or the same. So kairachanang vichakano means then let the wise lament. Okay, that means if you lament, you can heal your sorrow, then go ahead and lament, the Buddha said. But it does not. Okay, next. So the verse 10, Bari Devaya Manoche Kanchi Datang Udabahe Samuho Hinsa Matanang Kaira Chetang Vichakano. So if lamenting, one could derive some benefit and heal the mourner's sorrow, then let the wise lament. Okay, what he means here is grieving has no benefit. Okay, so if grieving has benefit, then go ahead, the Buddha says. Okay, so the longer one grieves and lament, the more one suffer. So if you grieve for 10 years, you will suffer for 10 years. But if you grieve for 1 year, you only suffer for 1 year. And many brave women who lost a husband while still young put aside their grief, realizing that they are now the main support for the children who need their time and care, and all the more now that their father is dead. So if they just remain grieving and lamenting, the family will go into debt, the children will be neglected, and everyone will suffer even much more. Okay, right? So, many brave women, even when they lost their husband, okay, now they all of a sudden they realize that they are the breadwinner of the family now. Okay, so they put on this courage, okay, to work hard for the family, to bring up the children, and in order to do so, they have to put the grieving aside. Okay, if they don't put the grieving aside, everybody will suffer and everybody will die together eventually. So in the time of the Buddha, a farmer used to go daily to the fields to work with his son. Having cooked the meals, the wife would send the food to the husband and son. One day, they were working. This one is the Uraga Jataka, the son was bitten by a snake and died on the spot. So the farmer sent the message to the wife to cook only one meal. So on receiving the message, she understood the meaning and did not weep at all. She took the meal to the field together with the flowers and incense to perform the funeral rites. So if you know the rest of the story, that even King Saka came down, okay, and he asked the Bodhisattva, "What are you doing? Are you your barbecue cow or something like that?" He said, "No, this is my son. I'm cremating." Okay, and King Saka is very, very taken aback. Okay, that well, there was no grieving, there was no lamentation at all. Okay, next 11.
Nahi runena sokena santing papoti cetaso Beyo supajate dukhang sarirang chupahanyati.
Okay, as na means not negative, he means indeed or because. Ruda is a past participle of rudati. Rudati means to cry or to weep. Rudena means by lamentation or by weeping. Soka means grief or sorrow. Sokena means by grieving. Santi, you know Santi forest? It means peace, for peaceful forest, tranquility. Papoti means to attain, to obtain, to reach. Chetaso means intention, purpose, or thought, or can even mean mind. So nahi runena sokena something papoti chetaso. Indeed, peace of mind is not attained by lamentation and grieving. Okay, so remember, peace of mind is not attained by lamentation and grieving. Next, bio means more or repeatedly. Okay, asa, horse, but in this is to this or of this. Upajate means to arise, to be born or to bring about. Dukkha or dukkang, grief or suffering. Sarirang, the body. Hanati means to be killed, to be destroyed, to be hurt, to be harmed. So, biasa upajate dukkang sarirang chumpahanati. It here means the lamentation and grieving will only bring about more suffering and harm the body. Okay, so lamentation is unwholesome. Yeah, so nahi rurena sokena santing papoti cetaso bio supajati dukkang sarirang cumanati. Indeed, peace of mind is not attained by lamentation and grieving. This will only bring about more suffering and harm the body. So what he says here means lamentation is unwholesome karma. You will harm the body. Okay. It says wise people, when they perform funeral rites and memorial services, okay, and then they will continue with their lives without longing for things to be as before. That is being wise. Okay, that means you perform the funeral rites or whatever memorial services, and then you continue. Life goes on, but then life will no more be the same. Okay, the person is no more around. Okay, so you do not crave or long for things to remain the same as before. It will never be. So if you fall prey to such thinking, you will bring about more sorrow. You make yourself sick. Okay, and how sorrowful you are, how much you lament, it will not bring the dead back to life. So only a foolish person will keep on lamenting in such a way. Verse 12.
ขีโสปิวาโนภาวาติหิงสามาตานามาตานานาเตนะเปตาปาลินตินิราตาปาริเดวานา
So kiso means thin or emaciated or haggard. Vivano means feeble, of a faded color. That means very pale. Bhavati is to become or to be or to exceed, to exist, not to exceed. EXIST. His hinsang means injury, hurt or tease. Atta is soul or oneself. Atanang is self or mourners. Kiso vivana bhavati hinsang atanang atana. Mourning only harms the mourners, making them emaciated and pale. Next, na means not or negative. Tena, by, with, or through him. Peta, is ghost or the departed ones. Palenti means to protect or to guard. Nirata, same, the word came out just now, useless or in vain. Paridevana, wailing or lamentation. So na tena peta palenti nirata paridevana. It does not help the departed. Therefore, mourning or lamentation is useless, is in vain. Next, verse 12. Kiso vivano bhavati hinsa bhatana matana natena peta palanti nirata paridevana. Mourning only harms the mourners, making them emaciated and pale. It does not help the departed ones at all. Therefore, mourning is in vain, meaning grieving only harm oneself.
โสกามปาจหันจันตุงเบโยดุขังนิกาจติอานุตุนาโตกาลกาตังโสกาสาวาสมาวากุ
Okay. Sokang, grief, sorrow. Jaha means giving up or forsaking. Apajahang means not forsaking, not giving up. Jantu is a living being or creature. Biyo, we learned just now, greater or repeatedly. Dukang, suffering. Nigachati means to undergo or goes into or to come to. So sokang apajahang jantu biyo dukang nigachati. By not forsaking grief, one goes into greater pain. So if you do not forsake or give up lamentation, we will go into greater pain. Next. Anutunanto, or the word atunati, means to mourn or to lament. Color is time, or it can also mean dark color. Katang comes from the word karoti. It means having done. Peta kalakatang means the petas who have fulfilled their early time. That means the petas who have fulfilled their lifespan as a ghost on this earth. Okay, this phrase peta kalakatang. So kalakatang means spend the time or fulfill the time. So kasa is grief or sorrow. Vasa or vasati means to live or to stay or to dwell. So kasa vasang means the reign of sorrow. Okay, the reign of sorrow or the residence of sorrow. Okay, Advagu is the third plural. they followed. So anu tu nanto kala katang so kasa vasang and vergu. In lamenting, one only goes deeper into the realm of sorrow. Okay, so what it means here is grieving and crying not only harm yourself, but it also make other people sad. So even those who are close friends become very worried about your company, since they are also helpless to change the situation of the person, that's you, which being afflicted by grief. So grieving leads to more sorrow, not only greater sorrow of oneself, but also brings sorrow to your friends, to your relatives, to other people, because they too are not able to help you. Next. Soka mapa jahan jantu, biyo dukan nigajati, anu tunanto kalakatang sokasa vasa mavargu. By not forsaking or giving up grief, one goes into greater pain. In lamenting, one only goes deeper into the realm of sorrow. So grieving leads to greater suffering. Okay, the explanation I already just explained just now. Okay, verse 14.
Anipi pasagamine yata kamu paginare macuno wasamagama pandante vidapanino.
Okay, so anye means another or else or other. P or api means and even. Pasa from the word pasati, see, understand, observe. Kabine means going away or sent to. Okay, actually, it can also mean ready to depart or time to go. Time to go means time to say goodbye lah. Yata means according to. Karma means volitional action. Upaga coming into, producing or born. Nare from the word naro, man. So anye pi pasa gabine yata kamu page nare. Observing how others are born into this world according to their karma, and when it's time to depart. Okay, that's the meaning. Next. Time to depart means time to say goodbye. Machuno means death. Vasang to leave. Pachuno vasang under the power of death, under the swell of death, under the residence of death. Agama having come. Pandanti or come from the word pandanti, to tremble or to stir. Ver is a short form for evil or I evil. It's an emphatic particle, or it can also mean like or s. Either is here in this world. Padine means pani, means living beings. Machino vasang agama padante vida panine. They too tremble under the sway of death. They means living beings. So verse 14. Anye pi pasa gamini yata kamu pagenare machuno vasang agama pandante vida panino. Observing how others are born into this world according to their karma, and when it's time to say goodbye, to depart, they also tremble under the sway of death. So you can see how beings fear death. Okay, the newspaper, every day we see the newspaper on TV, okay, news channel full of stories of disasters, people dying by hundreds and thousands. And it seems that ordinary people find some comfort by seeing that they are better off than other people. So when you see such thing, sometimes, some not every, some you feel very sad for them, and some you feel very comfortable because you are not suffering. At least you are not in their situation. You are better off than them. However, that is just an illusion. Okay? Although you may not be suffering any loss, any danger, and death at the moment, there is no security or insurance for you who is born into this world. We see how other people tremble with fear and grief over their loss. One should do no harm to any living being. A wise person should seek for the only escape from aging, sickness, and death. And that is Nibbana. Next.
Yena yena hi manyati tato tang hoti anyata etadiso vinabhavo pasaloka sapariyayang.
So yena means because of, he, because indeed, yena hi mayanti, in whatever way people think, okay, tato, from there, therefore, tang is that thing or matter, hoti is, anyata, otherwise or in a different way. So tato tang hoti anyata, things turn out to be otherwise. Okay, anyata. Okay, otherwise. You see, there's an a in front. Okay, so things turn out to be otherwise. Okay, next. Etadiso with such light or of this kind. Vinabhavo means separation or opposite or contradictory. Etadiso vinabhavo, such is the contradiction, or such is the contradictory, or such is the nature of things. Pasa means observe or see. Lokasa is of the world. Pariyayang, nature of things or order. Pasa, lokasa, pariyayang, observe thus the nature of the world. So the whole verse of verse 15, yena hi mayanti tato tang hoti anyata etadiso vinabhavo pasa lokasa pariyayang. In whatever way people think, things will turn out to be otherwise, the opposite. Such is the contradictory nature of things. Observe thus the nature of the world. So what it means that disappointment comes from vain hopes. Now, many of us, we always hope for what? Long life, healthy forever, and forever happiness. Right? That's what we wish for. However, disappointment is inevitable, meaning that we will be disappointed 100% if craving and attachment are not restrained by wisdom. One who lives in the present without longing for the past or future, who delights in the Dhamma, seeing danger, is the pursuit of sensual pleasures, is easily contented. Great disappointment comes from great expectations, while learning to accept things as they really are bring mental stability and peace. That means we will definitely be disappointed, okay? Because very often we always pray for long life, live forever, healthy forever, okay? It will not happen. The day will come that we will get sick. The day will come we will die. The day will come we will get poor or whatever problems, okay? So that is the nature of the world. So we got to see it with wisdom. Okay, next.
Apece wasa satang jewe Beyowa Panamanavo Nyati Sankavina Hoti Jahati Ida Jivitang.
Okay, api means even. As usual, many of the words are repeated. So che, I'll go faster. If, api che means even if. Vasa, remember how many vasa now we are in the vasa period, right? It's the rain period. Okay, vasa also can means year. Okay, 1 year, 2 years, 3 year. Okay, and one rainy period and another rainy season. Okay, so sata is 100 or being mindful also can. Vasa satang means 100 years, 100 years. Jive means live. Bio means more. Va means or, either or. Bio, va, or more. Pana means and yet, but, moreover, or on the contrary, or still have to. Api, api che versus satang jive. Bio, va, pana, manavo. Even Manavo means a young man. Manavo is a young man. Even if a young man were to live 100 years or more. Okay, next. That's the meaning. Yati means relatives or kinsmen. Yati Sangha means congregation of kinsmen or relatives. That means your community, your gang lah, all your relatives. Kakinang. So Vina means without. Hoti is. Yati Sagang Vinahoti, without relatives, or meaning bereft of relatives. Bereft here means deprived of, okay, lacking something, sad or lonely, especially through somebody's death. Jahati means to give up, to forsake, to abandon, either here or in this world. Jivitang, life or lifespan. Jahati, either Jivitang. He still have to give up his life in this world. Next. Api che vasasatang jive biyo va pada manavo yati sangha vinahoti jahati ida jivitang. Even if a young man were to live 100 years or more, he still has to give up his life in this world, bereft of relatives. Bereft of relatives means, okay, separated from your relatives. Okay, here means no one is immortal. If one have lived 80 or 90 years, one is said to have lived until a ripe age. And according, you can see the Chinese custom, if the disease is as a centenarian, 100 years or 90 years and above, okay, sometimes they even wear red. Okay, so it's a time to rejoice. That means you live to a ripe old age, okay, and which is a privilege to be in, whereas many people die much younger. So rarely, very seldom, people enjoy life after 100 years. Okay, when debilitating diseases cause constant pain and discomfort. So sometimes unable to walk, bedridden, you cannot eat your regular food, and your mind also failing, very forgetful. Life can become so unbearable that some people only wish to die. So a human life is precious if one uses it to acquire two things. One, you use your life to acquire merits, and you use your life to acquire wisdom. But it is a waste if it's spent merely to pursue sensual pleasures. So most people try to live as long as possible. When their duty to children have been done, they should spend all their time to cultivate merits for your next life. The property accumulated during this life will be left behind for your children or your relatives, but the karma that you have done will give results in future lives. Therefore, one should try to live long, but only for the sake of performing wholesome deeds such as charity, keeping your precepts, morality, propagation of the Dhamma, and the cultivation of wisdom through tranquility and insight meditation. Okay? So here the Buddha advised that you will live a meaningless life. Even how long you live is useless because you cannot bring that with you, even how rich you are. Okay, so especially when children have grown up, okay, they have their own life, then you should leave them alone. And as an senior citizens, we should focus on creating merits, creating wisdom. Okay, okay, we should try our best to learn the Dharma, to propagate the Dharma, and to practice meditation. All these things, okay, that we are going to bring along with us at our dying bed, not our property. Next.
Tasma arahato sutwa veneya paridevitang petang kalagatang deswa nasolaba maya iti.
Okay, here means Tasma from him, Arahato is Arahan, Sunati is to hear, Sutwa means having heard, Vineti means to remove or to train or to control. Vinaya means having removed or having control or fit to be trained. Bari Devitang, lamentation, wailing, weeping. Tasma Arahato Sutwa Vinaya Paridevitang, having heard from the Arahants, control the lamentation. That's the meaning of this stanza. Having heard from the Arahants, control the lamentation. Next, petang means dead or ghost, departed ones. Kala means time. Katang, having done. Peta kala katang, the petas will fulfill their time here on earth. Diswa means having seen. Peta kala katang diswa, having seen a person departing or departed. That means having seen a dying person. Na means not or negative. So is he. Labati means to obtain or to have. Laba means have. Na so laba, cannot have. Cannot have what? Cannot have him. Maya means with me. Iti is full stop or thus or again. So na so laba maya iti. Reflect that you cannot have him again. Next, verse 17. Tasma arahato sutwa vineya paridevitang petang kalakatang diswa na so laba maya iti. I think there's only one B. Having heard from the Arahants and seeing a person departed, control your lamentation and reflect that he cannot be with you again. He cannot be with you anymore. Okay? So we must heed the Buddha's advice to give up grief. So heeding the advice given in this Salla Sutta by the Buddha, okay, it asks you to give up your grief, to reflect wisely that the departed ones will not be seen again. You will not see your loved ones who have departed again. They are gone and they are gone forever. And life will change and life has to move on. 18.
Yatta saranamaditam varena parinibaye evam pi Diro Sapano Pandito Kusalo Naro Cimpamupatitang Sokang Wato Tulang Wadasai.
So yata means according to or just as. Buddhang saranang kacami is refuge, okay, or protection or shelter. But in this context, this shelter means house. Aditang means blazing or burning. Varina comes from the word vari, means water. Parinibae means final release from samsara. That's Nibbana, extinguish. So yatta saranang aditang varina parinibae. Just as one would extinguish, okay, would extinguish parinibae, a blazing house. Saranang aditang, a blazing house with water, varina. Okay, next. A1, in this way, thus, and api, even, diro, the wise one, sampanyo, wise one, pandito, also wise one, I don't know why, kusalo, comes from what? Kusala, wholesome deeds, or unwavering, steadfast, firm, merit, narrow is man, kusalo naro means steadfast man. Steadfast man here means convinced that what one is doing is right and then refuse to change. Kusalo naro. You're very convinced that what you are doing is right and you will refuse to change. Okay, so we call this kusalo naro. Evampi diro sampanyo pandito kusalo naro. Even so, let a steadfast and wise man. Next, kipang, quickly. Upatitang comes from the word upatita, past participle of upatati, means to fly up or to jump up or to be blown up. Sokang, grief. Vato or water, wind or air. Tulang, cotton. Ver, like or as, short form for evil. Damsaya comes from the word vidamsati, means destroy or remove. So kipang, upatitang sokang, vato tulang ver damsae. Remove grief as quickly as the wind that blows up a handful of cotton. Okay, so what it means here is Yatta saranang maditang varina parinibae evampi diro sampanyo pandito kusalo naro kipang upatitang sukang vato tulang va damsae. Just as one would extinguish a blazing house with fire, that means a burning house, even so, let a steadfast and wise man remove grief as quickly as the wind that blows up a handful of cotton. What it means here that extinguish grief immediately. If fire were to start in a house, you will extinguish the fire immediately, correct? And any means you will extinguish the fire because you don't want your house to be burned down. And you also know that if you fail to do so, your house will lead to the destruction of your house. Your house will be burned down and everything in it. So when afflicted by grief, extinguish it at once. The sooner you can extinguish your grief, the less you will suffer. If you see the way things truly are, you also see that you have no better choice than to dispel your grief and sorrow at once. You have no choice. You got to extinguish your lamentation, your sadness, your sorrow immediately. The longer it lasts, the more you will suffer. Next.
Paridewa pajapanca Domanasa ca atano Atano sukamesano Abuhe salamatano.
Paridewa, the lamentation of will, paridewang, pachapang, to abandon or to forsake, cha and domanasa or domanasang, grief or displeasure, atano, oneself, paridewang, pachapang, cha, domanasang, cha, atano, abandon, lamentation and grief. Okay, embedded in him or planted by himself. Okay, next. Sukang, happiness. Esano, he who seek, or he who desires things. Atano sukang esano, he who seeks his own pleasure, or he who seeks his own happiness. Sorry, sukang is happiness. Abahe, to draw out or to pluck out. Sala or salang is the dart or shafts. Abahe, salang, atano, pluck out the darts. Okay, these darts means the darts of grief. Okay, your lamentation. So pluck out the darts of grief planted by himself. Next. Paridewang pajapangcha domanasancha atano sukang mesano abuhe sala matano. Abundant lamentation and grief embedded in him. He who seeks his own happiness shall pluck out the darts of grief planted by himself. So the Buddha say, extract the darts of grief. Imagine if someone was shot in battle by a poisonous arrow. Okay, so it's definitely you have to remove the arrow immediately so that the poison will not go into your bloodstream. Although pulling it out may hurt, but it must be done at once. Okay, in order for the wound to heal, in order to prevent the poison to spread to the rest of your body. So extract the darts of grief. Verse 20.
Abula salo asito santing papoy yacetaso Sabba sokang atikanto asoko hotini putoti.
Abuha, pluck out or drawn out. Salo comes from the word sala, that. Asito is unattached, not clinging to or free from wrong views. Abuha salo asito, one who is free from attachment, will draw out. Draw what? Draw the dart of grief. Sating, peace. Santi, something or peace or tranquility. Papuya, okay, from the word papoti, having obtained, gain or having attained. Cetaso, intention or mind. Something papuya cetaso, having attained peace or having attained serenity of mind. Saber means all or entire. Sokang means grief or sorrow. Atikanto, going beyond, overcoming or surpassing. Sabasokang atikanto, transcending or overcoming all grief. Asoka, remember Asoka or Asoko, one who is free from sorrow. In mythology, we got Asoka Hall. So the hall is free from sorrow. Hoti is Nibuto, final bliss or ultimate happiness, which refers to Nibbana. T can also means full stop. Asoko hoti nibuto ti. One who is free from sorrow attains the ultimate bliss of Nibbana. So the entire verse. Abuha salo asito santing papuya cetaso Sabar sokang atik kanto asoko hoti nibu toti. One who is free from attachments will draw out the dark of grief, having attained serenity of mind and transcending all grief. One becomes sorrowless and attains the ultimate bliss of Nibbana. Having extracted the dark of grief, one becomes sorrowless. Okay, so that is the verse 20. The wise person who can extract the arrow of grief and despair can abide in opeka or equanimity, remaining completely free from sorrow. Right understanding of the first noble truth, the truth of suffering, enable one to remove the craving that is the cause of suffering, which is the second noble truth. The sensation of suffering that results from the removal of craving and attachment is the third noble truth. Developing the skill to guide one's mind in the right direction is the fourth noble truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. So the Buddha taught this sutta to this householder, okay, to abandon his grief, okay, and with the help of the Buddha's compassionate miracle of instruction or guidance, the householder abandoned his grief and became a sotapanna, realizing the sensation of suffering, which is nibbana. Okay, so we have finished the whole Salla Sutta. Okay, so we understand the overall picture of it. I would roughly go through the 20 stanza. Okay, number one, it tells us that the life of people in this world is very brief and beset by rules, and we are not able to calculate or gauge, okay, uh, our lifespan or when we will die and how we will die. Stanza 2, there is no device by which one is born can escape death. Having attained old age, death is inevitable. Just as stanza 3, just as ripe fruits must fall, even so mortals who are born must always have the fear of death. 4. Just as earthenware made by a potter is destined to break, even so is the life of mortals destined to break too. 5. Grown-ups and the young, the wise and the foolish, all will come under the sway of death. 6. No father can save his son. No relative can save his relatives when they depart in death. 7. While relatives stand watching and lamenting, see how beings are led to death like a cattle led to a slaughterhouse. 8. Since beings are thus assailed by death and old age, the wise, knowing the nature of this world, seeing things as they are, do not grieve. 9. It is in vain that you lament over the dead, since you do not know where you are going or where you are going to come from. That means you do not know where you are going to be reborn, and when you are born, you do not know where you came from. So it's useless to lament. If the dead is going to heaven, why you going grieve for what? It should be celebration, right? Going to heaven, man. You see, it should be a celebration. But if they are born in hell, how much you lament also no point, right? It does not help at all. You only harm yourself. Verse 10, if wailing will heal your sorrow, then let the wise wail. Okay? If healing can heal the mourning, then let the wise wail, but it will not heal. So the wise will not wail. Peace of mind, 11, peace of mind is not attained by lamentation or wailing. It only brings grief and it hurts the body. 12, mourning only makes the mourner emaciated, weak, and pale. It does not help the departed ones at all. Therefore, mourning is useless. 13, by not forsaking sorrow, he proceeds or goes into greater pain. He only goes deeper into the realm of sorrow. 14. Observe how others born in this world according to their karma must also tremble when death comes. 15. In whichever manner people think of things, things turn out to be otherwise. Such is the opposite nature of things. Observe thus the nature of the world, seeing things as they are. 16. Even if a young man were to live 100 years or more, he must still yield his life, and in the end, deprive of friends and relatives. 17. Therefore, listen to the Arahants. And upon seeing a person departing, control your weeping, reflecting that he cannot be with you again. Things will never be the same, but life must go on. 18. Just as one would extinguish with water the flames of a house on fire, even so let a steadfast and wise man remove grief as quickly as you can, just like the wind blowing up a handful of cotton. 19. Let a person who is desirous or who wants his own welfare and happiness pluck out the darts of grief planted by himself. And lastly, verse 20, having these darts of grief being plucked out and having attained mental peace, it becomes blessed, free from grief, overcoming all sorrow, become sorrowless, and attains Nibbana. So you see, the Buddha does not encourage a wise Buddhist to lament. Of course, if it's only natural to be sad, but we have extreme cases of people who cannot let go of grief. Not 1 month, Some is 5 years, some 10 years, some 20 years. Buddhists, people that I know of, okay, they just cannot let go. It can be the husband pass away, or it can be the wife who pass away, or it can be the son who pass away. Okay, until today, it still affect the person and is still grieving. Such is the foolishness of the person. Not I say, the Buddha said. This is the teaching by the Buddha. And with that, I end my sharing on Salla Sutta. Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So we have to contemplate on these darts of grief. Okay, and if you are very skillful, okay, if you are able to, it's quite long. The sutta is 20 stanza, but if you can get the gist of it and have a short Dhamma talk, okay, explaining how to remove grief, how to overcome lamentation. This is the sutta to speak on during a week. Okay, you can leave the Pāli words out because normally, unless you know Pāli, okay, so you speak English lah. But at least they understand If they understand the Dhamma, they see things as it is. Okay, with wisdom, it's easier to let go. If not, it's difficult to let go. Okay, the more we are attached, the more we will suffer. The more we let go a little, we get a little peace. We let go more, we get more peace. We let go completely, that is Nibbana. Thank you. I think the next one we will have the one of the last sutta, Vijaya Sutta, and then we will go into the 32 parts of the body. Okay, and I think we have come a long way with this MARABHASATI chanting verses, and then we realize that there's so much wisdom and Dhamma in the words of the Buddha. So we don't just chant and not understand what we are chanting. So once we understand its meaning, when we chant, it's even more meaningful. Okay, so each time we go to the wake, we chant this, we are actually contemplating on MARABHASATI. Okay, it's more for the chanters, for ourselves, rather than for the disease. Salla Sutta, I think it's a very beautiful sutta. Okay, you see things very, very differently. You understand why we should not grieve, why we should not lament. This is what the Buddha taught us, not because we don't have feelings, because that's the nature of things. Okay, that's the nature, that's Dhamma. You cannot change. Even how much you cry also, you cannot change. It is like that. Okay, and I like the very good example of the young woman, a young woman who lost her husband. Okay, she cannot let grief overwhelm her. The whole family would die, man. You see? So the young woman, very brave. She will let go of the grief because now she becomes the breadwinner of the family. Last time is the husband, but the husband is no more. Life has changed. Okay, so the brave young woman, single mother, becomes a single mother now. Okay, take on the role of the breadwinner of the family. Let go of grief, let go of lamentation, and bring up the children. That is the way, rather than drowning oneself in sorrow and go deeper into sorrow and also affect the children. And the children also will get distressed or go into depression. There are cases where the family or even the mother, okay, who wants to commit suicide and then bring the children along and then die together, pour kerosene and then die together, or in the kitchen on the gas stove. There are cases like that. They say, if I die, who is going to take care of my children? So I die, I bring my children along. That is wrong view. That is wrong view. It sounds very logical, but it is not logical, okay? When I die, who's going to take care of the children? So I die, I bring my children along. So you kill your own children and yourself. That is wrong view. But when you're in that situation, you think you're very right. That is wrong. Very, very wrong. Because you are being, your eyes is being covered by dust and delusion. So much moha. That's the beauty of Buddhism. But this going through this Paranasati, I've learned a lot. Okay. And it's time to go. You're more ready for it. You're more brave. Okay. Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, everyone. May everyone be well, safe, and healthy. Thank you.